All right, what's up? Good morning. This is Chris at Tech Teacher Support. And today I wanted to quickly go through our previous video, which was how to 3D print PPE, personal protective equipment. And yesterday's live stream was about an hour and 45 minutes. And so today I wanted to go over it quickly in about 20 minutes for those of you who have maybe done this before and just need some quick pointers. So to get right into it, what we are doing today is 3D printing personal protective equipment. And if you look at the screen above me, I'm going to go over sort of the impetus and where this came from. And then, of course, up here, you see our 3D printer that has finished printing last night's face shield. I also have a couple other ones that we 3D printed, so we'll talk about these. We'll remove that one, and we'll start another one. So here's what we're going to do. Over here on the left, we have the 5 steps, and we're going to go through those. And so by the end of this 20 minutes, you'll have downloaded a file, set it up on your computer, and printed it to the 3D printer. It's about a 2-hour print, and so we'll get that started this morning. So thank you for joining us. Again, my name is Chris. This is Tech Teacher Support. You can go to our website, techteachersupport.com. Of course, you can go to our Twitter if you have any questions about our videos or really any questions about technology in general. We're here to help, whether you're a teacher, a school, a student, or someone who's just trying to figure something out with technology. Post your question on our Twitter and we will make a video and help you out. So we also do consulting for schools and teachers and curriculum. So check out our website if you want more information. Okay, so when the COVID-19 pandemic started to hit, this company here, Budmen Industries, is a 3D printing company in New York. And what they noticed was that their local hospitals didn't have enough protective equipment. The pandemic came so fast, so quick that a lot of hospitals just weren't prepared for the amount of equipment that they would need. And so they placed orders, and as they were waiting on those orders, the pandemic started to really get serious, and a lot of people didn't have face shields. So Budmen Industries, who makes 3D printers, decided they were going to start 3D printing some of these PPE equipment that the healthcare workers need to sort of give back a little bit until the sort of stock of real equipment could catch up. Well, that stock has not yet caught up, and people are still 3D printing for people in need. And that's what we're going to do today. And as you can see, this is a global effort. So this is a worldwide effort. This is a global pandemic. So there's people all around the world who need this equipment, and that's what we're going to do to help out. And here's what we're going to print. This is the face shield. So this is the part that goes around your head. And then, of course, it gets assembled further with a plastic shield in front and then a piece of elastic to hold it onto your head. So that's where this local company in Columbus comes in, IC3D. IC3D is who makes the filament. So here's some IC3D filament, and this is the plastic that turns into what you 3D print. And so IC3D was getting a lot of requests for filament, and they decided to help Budmen Industries in this global effort. And here's an article about that. So not only were they able to start printing up a bunch of face shields, but they were able to rehire a lot of their workers. And to this day, they are constantly building and assembling these face masks. There is still a dire need, and here we are at the middle of May. So all of these websites are in the link below. Here's where, if you are a healthcare worker, someone who works in a nursing home, someone who really needs some protective equipment, you can request that. If you want to 3D print, if you're a maker, someone who has a 3D printer at home like us, you can volunteer. That way, when these are printed, you can send those off to IC3D. They will be assembled and turned into masks for healthcare workers. And if you just want to contribute to the cause with a monetary donation, you can do that here as well. Okay. So that's a little bit of background, and what I want to do now is get right into the files and get them on the computer and printing. So we see step 1 over here is download the 3D file. Now, this is going to get a little tricky. If we go to Budmen Industries, right here, they have a download. And this is version 4 of their face mask, which means they've made improvements. And this will download and print perfect. except we have a much smaller printer than they do. So if you look, in fact, here's probably a better picture here. Here you can see they're actually printing 4 face masks at once because their 3D printer is huge. Our 3D printer here in the lab at Tech Teacher Support is much smaller. It's only 6 inches square. So the problem is this big, 9-inch face mask is not going to fit on our printer. So we could not participate in printing these face masks, unfortunately. They're just too large for our printer. So I can't download that and print it. So I was kind of bummed for a few weeks until someone on Thingiverse made the version you see over here on our 3D printer, which is slightly folded so it can fit. And then when it gets assembled, it gets unfolded and put on. So here's 2 of those. This is the folded version, and this is one I've unfolded. And this is really cool. We're going to go to the website right now and see the person who designed this folded version. We're going to download that and print one of those. Okay? So again, if you have a small printer and you didn't think you could help with this face masks, now you can. This is awesome. And again, this link will be in the description. I'm going to go to a website called Thingiverse. All right? And here we are, and I'm going to show you right up here. This is MakerBot Thingiverse, and this is a website with free 3D models that other people have created, and you can download those, and then you can print those. Without going too far into Thingiverse, it is an awesome resource, and I use it a lot to print out a number of items that have already been designed. You don't need to spend your whole night designing this. Someone's done it for you. So we're just going to download this and print it. And you can see there's some pictures here. This is Nickley W, and he's gone through and shown a little bit about how this works and how to print it. All right. So we need to download this to our computer. So if you follow my mouse right here in the upper right, I'm going to click this, download all files. All right. And there it is. It has downloaded that file. And then right over here, it just says you can thank them by giving them a tip and gives you some information about the license. So if this is something you use a lot, I would highly suggest tipping the designer to help them make more, right? So here we go. We have downloaded that file. That file is now on our laptop in our downloads folder. So what I can do is I'm going to open my downloads folder. Now on a Mac, depending on how you have it set up, there's a few ways. Right here, you can get to your downloads. I see it. There's the Budmen Face Shield, right? You can also click on your Finder, and from here you can click on Downloads, right? And there it is as well. Now, the thing is this is a zip file, so this is zipped up, compressed. We need to unzip it to get to all the files. So I'm going to double click on this zip file that we just downloaded. All right. And when you do that, it unzips into a folder. So here's a folder now. And in this folder are files. And in this file is 2 things. IC3D Budmen head, and then the strap locks. And again, these are little straps that hold the elastic to your head. Perfect. So looking back at our checklist over here, we have downloaded the 3D file. Now what we need to do is set it up on our slicer. Excuse me. So a slicer is the software on your laptop that takes your 3D piece and sends it over to the printer. All right, and so I'm going to show you how to do that. So look up at our screen here. I'm going to hide Google Chrome. Let's hide my... Oh boy. Okay. We're going to go over to a piece of software called Cura. All right. I'm going to show you this on my screen. And here's Cura. Looks like this. Now I'm going to go back to Chrome and show you where to get Cura. So if you don't have Cura, here's how you get it. We have what's called a Lulzbot Mini. I think you can kind of, let me move the camera here. Right here is our Lulzbot Mini. All right. And so it's ready to print right now. It just needs information sent to it. And so the way you do that is you use a slicer, and we're using Cura. And there's an actual Cura Lulzbot edition. So this can kind of get tricky if you have an Ultimaker or a MakerBot, or depending on your printer, you want to make sure that you're using a slicer that can speak the right language. So I'm going to download the Cura Lulzbot edition because I have a Lulzbot printer. So your mileage may vary depending on your printer and slicer. You'll have to find one that works for you. And if you have questions about that, let me know. There is Simplify 3D, there is Slicer, there's a handful of other software that can do this. So I'm going to click Download Cura. And as you can see here, it's for Windows or Mac. So grab the version you need. And then when you download it, it's going to go to your computer, and we're going to run it from here. So now this is Cura Lulzbot, and I'm going to open this up. All right. Now, I've skipped over a bunch of steps just to get you to this point. But this is the sort of setup of the slicer. So we were on step 2. And as you can see here, I have loaded both the headband in and the 2 straps. So to do that, I'm going to show you this. Watch my mouse here in the upper left. We're going to go over here and we're going to say Open File. And then we're going to find that headband and we're going to say Open. And that's how you import things into Cura. So I've already hit Open on the headband and the strap locks, and it has placed them here on the print bed. And we can kind of rotate around and see, but it should look very similar to what's over here on the printer. That's essentially what just printed that, right? So, okay. So number 2, set up your 3D file on the slicer. Here we are. We launched Cura, we opened the files, and we put them here on the print bed. You may need to rotate them or move them around depending on where your print bed is and how it places it. You know, again, you can grab this and you can move, you can rotate, however you can get it to fit. All right. And if you want way more in-depth on all of this, you can see part 1. And again, that's about a 2-hour video where we go into real detail about all these things. All right, number 3 then. We've got this on our slicer. Number 3 is we need to set up our printer. All right, and there's 2 steps to that. Step 1 is the software side of the printer, and step 2 is the physical side of the printer. So let's start with the software. We're already here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit and head over here just to highlight a few things. Number 1, you can see up here, we are running the Lulzbot Mini. So you want to make sure you tell Cura which printer you're running. If you're running a Lulzbot Taz or a Mini 2, whatever version it may be, you want to make sure that you are running your correct printer. Now to material, you want to tell it what material is in the 3D printer. Again, we're using PLA. This is IC3D. They also make an ABS filament, PETG. There's a lot of different filaments that are made, so you make sure you tell your computer which one is actually loaded into your machine. So in our machine right now, we have PLA, so I have set that as PLA. And then profile here is high speed. You have 3 choices: really high detail, regular, or high speed. So we want to get these out really fast. The detail is just fine on high speed, so the quicker the better, right? So we set that to high speed, and then you have a number of settings down here that you normally don't mess with. But real quick, I'm going to take you back to Thingiverse, and we're going to notice over here on Thingiverse that Nickley W., the person who designed it, actually gave you a number of settings that you should use for your printer. So you should not use supports. High speed resolution is fine. You should use PLA or PETG. And then there's some other notes in here. Change your Z seam alignment, change your skirt distance, all right? And again, if you want really more in-depth detail about those specific settings, you can watch my previous video. But for the most part, what we just need to tell the printer to do is kind of change the way it builds this a little bit, because there's this hinge in the middle, and we don't want that hinge to break. So we're telling the printer to not stop on the hinge and to essentially build this a little bit differently than it normally would. So those settings are all in the first video, and you can go in and do those. So those have already been done. We are ready to go. Right down here at the bottom, you see two things. One, it gives you an estimate of the time. So it's going to take about 1:36 hours. And after everything is said and done, it's probably closer to 2 hours. And then right here is this print button. We are ready to print. We're just going to hit this and our printer should go. So now we're on to step 3B, which is to set up our 3D printer. So we got the software set up. Now we need the hardware set up. So two things. Number one is, first of all, we obviously need to remove the piece that's already printed. So we're going to remove that and then we'll print the new one. All right. And let's see if I can't get a better picture of our 3D printer here. Okay. So step one is we're going to turn this on, and here is our on button. All right. And you know what? We might be able to just move this down just a touch there for you. There we go. So we've turned it on. You see right here is a cable. This is the USB cable, so that is going into my laptop. These two are talking to each other now. And now what we need to do is remove this piece so we can print a new one. And what I do with that is I use this paint scraper. I found it in an art store. It is really nice because it is flat, right? And it has a really sharp edge on here that you can kind of get under and scrape. So let's get these off this print bed so we can print again. And I'm just going to take this little guy here and just kind of try to get under those pieces. There's one. Oops. All right, we'll get that. Let's get this little guy off. There's two. And then we might be able to just pull this one off. Yep. So we don't even need our tool for that. We can just pull that off, and there we go. Okay? So this is great. We have multiple of these now. We've been printing these for the past few days. We're going to send these all off to IC3D using their donate page. So don't forget to do that. But now we're going to set up our next print. Two things I like to do before I hit that print button is I need to clean the bed off, and then I also need to clean off this nozzle here, right? We need to get rid of all the previous print so it's nice and clean. What I use for that is this isopropyl alcohol and this Scotch-Brite sponge. So let's put a little bit of alcohol on the tip. And again, I just use a little bit, and I'm going to scrub that plate down of this 3D printer. And let's remove, as you can see, there's a little bit of plastic left over on there. And I'm just going to go and give it a nice little wash here to make sure that there's no residue or leftover plastic on it. And then also I'm going to go up to the nozzle up here and break off this piece of plastic and give that a nice little scrub as well to make sure it's ready to go. Okay, that's it. So we are ready to go. Let's go back and look at our steps really quick. So we downloaded the file, whether you have a big printer or a small printer, showed you the both files you can download. We took those files and set it up on our slicer, and we're using Cura. And we set up our 3D printer and our settings, which was Lulzbot, right? Now we need to print, and then it says repeat. So you can just keep doing this. It takes about 2 hours. You could knock out 12 of these a day, depending on how much you're around your printer, or at least one a day or two a day. And then you can donate these to IC3D. So here we go. We are going to hit print. It's going to take off. So if you follow my mouse here down in the corner, I'm going to hit print via USB. Okay, and we should hear this. There we go. It's going to do its calibration, right? So it's going to get everything calibrated and reset to 0. So it's print bed and its nozzle here. All right, perfect. And now we're going to go through this sort of heating up process. So it needs to get, eventually this is going to get to over 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Right now it's at room temperature. So it needs to build its way up there to get to the heat. And of course the plate that it prints on is heated as well to help that sort of adhesion. So we are essentially done. This is going to do its job for the next 2 hours and print out one of these for us. Again, if you are printing these and you have a bunch that you want to donate, you can go to IC3D, and here's their donation page. This is right on their website, ic3dprinters.com, and this will be in the link below. And you can hit volunteer to 3D print. And when you do that, it will take you to a Google form that you can fill out to let them know who you are, how many of these you're producing, and how to get in contact with you. And then you'll send them to IC3D. They will assemble them and send them to the people in need. So this is a really awesome, really cool, really amazing effort from sort of DIY makers around the world helping out the healthcare workers who desperately need this. So thank you for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out. Again, if this was a little too quick for you, we have a much more in-depth version, part 1, which goes really in-depth to a lot of the different settings and installation and things. But if you just wanted to quickly see how to print some PPE and be part of the global effort, there you go. Again, you can check out Budmen Industries, IC3D. Those links are in the description. If you have any questions about what we did today, you can use our Twitter here at TechTeacherSup and say, what's up? Let me know. Did you have a problem with this? Is something not working? Can you not figure something out? We're going to take care of it and we'll help you out. So thank you for your time this morning. I will be back later today with, I think we're going to do some app coding, maybe some robotics. So again, check out my website, my Twitter. If you have something you want to see us do in the future, let us know. This thing's going to whir away and start 3D printing another mask. Have a great day. I will see you later. All right, peace. Bye.